Help me. Something feels wrong. Those were the silent words written across the millionaire CEO's face as he sat in his luxurious hotel suite, rubbing his leg. To everyone else, it looked like nothing. Just a rash, maybe some bug bites. His assistants, managers, and even his personal doctor brushed it off as stress or allergies. But in reality, danger was spreading through his body, and no one saw it, except the maid. Angela, the hotel maid, wasn't a doctor. She wore a plain black and white uniform, carried towels, and went unnoticed by the high-class guests she served every day. But she had sharp eyes. Her grandmother had been a nurse, and Angela had grown up learning how to recognize strange symptoms. And when she saw the CEO's leg, something inside her screamed, "This is not normal." Richard Kane was one of the richest men in the city, a self-made millionaire, CEO of a massive tech company. He was used to control, to power, to being untouchable. That's why, when Angela politely suggested he should get his leg checked immediately, he laughed it off. "It's just a rash," Richard said, spraying medicine on it. "I have meetings worth millions tomorrow. I don't have time for nonsense." Everyone around him agreed. His assistants nodded. His manager insisted he rest for a few hours. No one dared to argue with the powerful CEO. But Angela's eyes didn't leave the spreading red patches on his skin. They weren't just rashes. They looked infected, angry, and dangerous. Angela hesitated. Should she speak again? Would he fire her for being just a maid who dared to give him advice? But something deep in her heart told her, if you don't speak up, he might not live to see tomorrow. Later that evening, as Angela came back to drop off fresh towels, she noticed Richard's condition had worsened. His face looked pale, and he was sweating despite the cool air conditioning. His leg was swelling. This time, Angela didn't stay quiet. She put down the towels, looked Richard in the eye, and said with firm confidence, "Sir, you may not believe me, but what you have is not a simple rash. It could be blood poisoning or an infection that spreads fast. Please, if you don't go to the hospital tonight, you might not wake up tomorrow." Richard stared at her, shocked at her boldness. His assistants looked offended, ready to scold her. But Angela didn't flinch. She wasn't speaking as a maid. She was speaking as a human being who valued life over pride. Her words pierced Richard's arrogance. For the first time, he felt fear. His heart raced, not from anger, but from realizing she might be right. An hour later, Richard was in the emergency room. The doctors ran tests, and the results were shocking. Angela had been right. He wasn't suffering from a rash. It was the beginning of sepsis, life-threatening condition where an infection spreads through the blood. If he had waited until morning, his chances of survival would have dropped dangerously low. The doctors immediately began treatment, giving him powerful antibiotics and fluids. Richard lay there in the hospital bed, humbled and shaken. The assistants who once brushed it off now looked guilty. His manager kept apologizing. But Richard's eyes searched only for Angela, the woman who had spoken up when no one else dared. The next morning, Richard was stable. The danger had passed, but his heart had changed forever. He called Angela to his hospital room, and for the first time in years, the powerful CEO had tears in his eyes. "You saved my life," he said softly. "Everyone else ignored it, but you saw what no one else did. You were brave enough to speak when no one else would." Angela smiled humbly. "I just did what was right, sir. Life is more important than pride." But Richard didn't forget. From that day forward, he made sure Angela's life changed too. He paid for her to attend medical school because deep down he knew she had the instincts of a true doctor. And every time he looked at the scar on his leg, Richard remembered one truth. Sometimes, the person society underestimates the most is the one who can save your life. This story reminds us that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear Maid uniforms. Never ignore the people around you, because the one you least expect might be the one who saves your life. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Tark.